here are the red flags that I tend to see through 20 years of experience of people trying to defraud you and either not pay for something or just outright steal it. So your personal information has a value to you, right? You want to protect that. Not many people take the extra steps to safeguard their information, and when it gets out, you're in a boatload of trouble. They're going to steal your identity, they're going to take your money, they're going to do all sorts of stuff that's not fun, and it's going to take a long time to resolve. And that's where today's video sponsor, Aura, is here to keep you protected and help you avoid that headache in the future. Aura will identify data brokers that are exposing your information and automatically submit opt-out requests on your behalf. They'll even opt you out of junk mail and telemarketing lists. Aura also monitors your emails and passwords to see if they were involved in a data breach and exposed on the dark web. Aura has almost every internet safety tool you'll ever need, all inside one app. Let Aura do the hard work of keeping you safe online. If you sign up right now, Aura will give you a 2-week trial for free with my link. You'll be shocked to learn how much of your private information Aura finds exposed over those 2 weeks. Go to aura.com/superspeeders to start your free trial, also linked below in the description, or scan the QR code. So to try them out for 2 weeks for free, visit aura.com/superspeeders. I put a link right below in the description, plus there's that QR code that you can just scan that, makes it easy. That's aura.com/superspeeders, or click the QR code. You're going to be amazed to see how much your information is already out there, and you're going to be thanking me for directing you to them. That's aura.com/superspeeders. There's a link right below in the description, or QR code. All right, what's going on, everybody? Rob Ferretti here, and I was just able to stop another potential fraud, right? And you can't say something is a guaranteed fraud until you've been defrauded. But I've got all these policies in place that learn, and 20 years of knowledge to learn how to spot fraud before it happens. So it's ultimately not fraud, but I also can then teach people the tricks of the trade so that I can help other people eliminate fraud as well. Because that's not really any fun, right? I don't care if you're renting out your car as a gypsy operation or what. I don't like when the thief steals your car. It's just not fun. And this is how I caught the last guy who just tried, in my opinion, to steal a car. Now, sometimes people just want to get a car that they can't get and they want to weasel their way in, but when I find out there's like fraudulent or suspicious activity, my flags go up. And here are the red flags that I tend to see through 20 years of experience of people trying to defraud you and either not pay for something or just outright steal it. Now, time is not on your side if you're fraudulent, right? You can't make a reservation for August in February if you're going to defraud somebody, because that gives time for all the stuff to flush out that it's not legit. It's always last minute. So if you're doing something, you're probably going to call up on a Saturday at 6 o'clock at night and say, I need a car now. What do you have on the lot? Oh, cool. Last minute revenue. We'll just make some exceptions. I've seen commonality in the fraudulent activity. One is geolocation. So a lot of fraudulent activity comes from the hotbeds, right? Newark, West Orange, East Orange, Camden, Trenton. It'll come down from Atlanta. Anyone who comes to me with like a Georgia license, instant red flag, because it's out of area, right? It's not like at least the New Jersey people are coming from New Jersey, but the addresses then don't line up. P.O. boxes, right? P.O. boxes are like, right, why don't you have an address? If you live somewhere, you should have an address. If you're running a P.O. box, I'm very suspicious. And that's not only a P.O. box and a license, it would also be a P.O. box on a credit card or debit card or whatever. That's a big flag. If somebody is using a credit or debit card that has a different billing address from their mailing address or their insurance address, all flags. Like stuff that doesn't line up and last minute and this stuff, it all just screams that you should do double checks. Now, everything's sort of waterfalls, right? Like, you can't be in business of just assuming everyone's trying to defraud you and look for reasons not to rent to them. You want to make sure that they pass all the tests, because look, there's sometimes somebody just has a P.O. box because they travel a lot. Maybe they were in the military. They didn't have a permanent house, so they had a P.O. box that they check in with, because it's much cheaper to keep a P.O. box than it is to have something else. But those answers will flush out with a little bit of research. Now, this last customer just tried to rent an S580 from me, brand new 2023 S580, and he came in and he said, hey, just want to let you know, My insurance policy is new. Is that cool? Last minute, new insurance policy. Now, why is a new insurance policy something you should be concerned with? Well, you can go sign up for insurance right now and they'll be like, here's your insurance policy. This guy sends me over proof of insurance. He signed it up that day. Now, he's super high risk when he sent over this thing. His insurance for 6 months was almost $7,000 for 6 months. So it's $1,000 a month is like state maximum, like super high risk. Like, we're going to insure you, but like there's something definitely funny about this. The guy, his email address, when you look at it, was from Belgium. His license was from Atlanta. He wanted to rent out of West Orange, New Jersey. Like, last minute, everything was like, sorry, sir, unfortunately, we won't be able to help you. I tried, though. I was like, look, I'm not here to tell you I can't rent you. I don't want to just, you're putting up a lot. And I tell people, you're putting up a lot of red flags. I got to verify it. If you've got a new policy, I got to see your old policy. If you had a policy for the last 6 years and you just switched to a new company, that's a valid reason to have a new policy, right? Like, oh, my term was up on Thursday. It's my birthday on Friday anyway, but I want to get a new car. I got a new policy. So I want to rent with my new policy because my old policy just expired. I can see that you carried coverage on your old policy and then you just got a new policy. Much more clear, much easier to look at. But with insurance, you could just go swipe whatever fake credit or debit card you have. It goes through, you get a fake policy with your fake license and you're using a fake email address from Belgium and then the card just disappears, right? I'm practically dropping it off of the port at that point in time. So I was able to flush that out. Buddy, can't help you. Sorry. Too many, and I tell people, there's too many red flags here. And this guy knows. I feel like he's like actual proper fraud because he doesn't want to even waste his time with me. He's like, I just want to let you know I have a new policy. He started with that, right? Like, so now he's like, if you're not going to accept a new policy, he'll just go to another company that may accept the new policy, and that'll get him in the door. Other things that you can look out for fraud is usually cash rentals. I don't like cash rentals for that reason. Debit cards, stuff that, like, if you don't have a credit card, I understand people don't have credit cards. Some people I know that are very, very wealthy, very like athletes that don't have credit cards, but their debit card will swipe through for more than I see any. Usually a debit card is like a $5,000 a day daily limit, even for rich people. I've swiped more than that on certain people's debit cards that don't have credit cards, so they've gotten the bank to unlock that, understanding that's how they operate their funding. So cash rentals, big flag, because you pay cash, you disappear. I'll generally do cash for a deposit. I won't take cash for a rental and cash for a deposit. It's a huge red flag. Unless you're a repeat customer that I've rented to a bunch of times, on a first-time rental, I'm not going to take a cash rental, and I'm not going to do a cash deposit, cash rental, out-of-state license, new insurance policy. All of these things are flags. Now, you want to pay attention to these flags, especially because I know a lot of people rent cars, right? Like, and I am not under the illusion that everyone's doing it properly, but everybody should put these policies in place because when you get your car stolen, you're now either out money, which I don't like to see, or you're defrauding your insurance company and making a claim that you shouldn't be making, which is bad for everybody. So the more we can prevent people from stealing cars the easy way, right? Like, you can't prevent when they bust into the dealership and throw a brick through the window and drive out with the keys, like gone in 60 seconds. But you can not willingly give somebody a car that technically, that like literally they're just telling you to give them the car. You give it to them and they disappear. It's called conversion. It sucks. Conversion is usually something that happens when you're a rental company. So if you're not a rental company, I don't even know if legally it could be considered conversion. You just gave somebody your car and they never brought it back. So it's a civil matter, not a criminal theft. Either way, stuff to look out for. You want to see if you can get the license to match up to the billing address, all of these things. And I'm not making better criminals here, right? Like, I'm not telling them. It's not easy to have a license. And if something is suspect to you, look it up, Google it. Like, I'll Google somebody's address on their license. It'll be like a non-address, or it'll come up to a warehouse somewhere. Or you can look at like the property records and like just try to tie somebody into the property or the address that they're giving you. Look up their email address, type it into Google and see if it comes up anywhere. If they have a social media profile, LinkedIn profile, anything like that. Because this is not like a stick of gum. You have got somebody looking to spend thousands of dollars to get a very expensive item from you. They should have some roots somewhere. They should have a resume somewhere. They should have a social media profile that's been around for a while, that they've got other friends and they've got, like, it should all add up. If it doesn't, don't be afraid to say no, because saying yes to somebody who's fraudulent could cost you a heck of a lot more than not just receiving your money, but also losing out on the money if it's fraud and losing out the car if they steal it. Rob Ferretti, just some tips and tricks to keep in mind. I've seen it, and look, if something doesn't make sense, call it out. Don't try to work your way around it and say well, company policy, my boss is saying this. Come straight out. Dude, I got a problem with your email address being from Belgium, you're from Atlanta, and I got a problem with everything you're doing. A lot of people, there's certain insurance companies that aren't really open on the weekends, and you have to go through the broker to get the proof of insurance. So they know when they call you up after hours and the broker's out of the office and they want something, you can tell them, sorry, can't do it last minute. Last minute rentals are not your friend. So last minute rentals, you want to make sure you have your guard up. You want to make sure you're checking all the boxes and making sure you're covered. It'll make, if you do have proper rental insurance, it'll make your insurance company happy, and it'll make your headaches a lot less going forward. Rob Ferretti, that's how I saved my S580 from getting stolen, and that's how you can prevent your cars from getting stolen too. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow.